Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. We are going to uh, be going through the process of pushing OEM to your own uh, sandbox. So in class, OEM was already pushed to a server, and you were able to use Oracle Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 13C. You were able to use that to manage the database PT prod. But now, uh, on your own server, we have deployed your own OEM Enterprise Manager Cloud 13C, and you will be pushing that to your sandbox to use to you will use that to manage the database FMIS, and then you will do that on your own to push it to PT Advanced, so that you can manage a pluggable database that is on the ASM, also with an ASM instance, with the disk groups and the um, all that has to do with ASM. So right away, what we have here, I'm just going to give you a rough idea of what this is all about, and then we go from there. So what we have here is that we have multiple databases running on different servers. So we have different servers. So take this to be about 1,000 servers. So we have databases that are running on this server FMIS, and it has its own Oracle home software and every Oracle component that is running on this server. So this server, the domain name for this server is ptsandserver.domain. And if I could just put an IP address there just to give you an idea. So this is the IP address of the SAN server, which is your sandbox. That's the IP address right there. So what happens is that if you have multiple databases, let's put one more here, PTXCDB. So we have a pluggable database on the PT Advanced server, and it has two pluggable databases. So we have 1,000 servers running different versions of Oracle. So what would have happened for you to manage is to be logging in one by one. If you wanted to create one user that will manage all 1,000 databases, you will log into these servers one by one to create that user. But in a large organization, the organization will buy what is called Oracle Enterprise Manager. And what that would do is on a different server, we will have Oracle Enterprise Manager running. And so Enterprise Manager then will have an agent, OEM agent, running on each box. So OEM agent will be running on each box. So on each box, OEM agent will be running, and OEM agent will send to Enterprise Manager everything it knows about the databases that are running on these servers, including all the grid infrastructure components that are running. Anything Oracle running on these servers will be sent to OEM Cloud Control. Now, because we are database administrators, I would like to go deep dive a little bit into the components that make OEM. Now, OEM itself is comprised of multiple things. So I'm going to just keep it simple. So first of all, OEM is an application. It has an application called OMS. OMS, Oracle Management Service or Management Server. So that's an application. When you install Enterprise Manager Cloud Control, it deploys OMS, but it needs a virtualized environment, an application server software to be able to deploy. So automatically, Oracle deploys a middleware server called WebLogic. So you don't have to do nothing during the installation. WebLogic will be deployed. And so I'm showing you some of the things that make up OEM. Obviously, you will need some kind of location to keep all the information that are coming from the different agents. So we need a full-fledged database, just a regular normal database to hold that information. So then we need OEM repository, database that will hold all that information. And because this is a full-fledged database, it can hold that information for as long as you want it to hold that information. So then OEM then becomes a centralized location for reporting, for notification, for alerts, even for job scheduling. I shouldn't fail to mention that there's another component called software library. Software libraries. So this is where you have plugins for different things, because OEM can manage not just Oracle, but it can be used to manage SQL Server and some other Oracle products, Golden Gate, and several other products that are not even Oracle. So this is basically OEM. Now, in order to install the agents on the host, the agents can be pushed from OEM. We can push the agent. Right, I selected the wrong arrow. So we can push the agent from OEM So from OEM, we log in and we push the agent to be installed on the host. And then it starts monitoring and reporting back its findings to OMS. Of course, it uses certain ports, like the default is 3872. There's also an upload port of 4903. So 2 ports needs to be open on the target. So from now on, I will be calling this the target. So where we are going is the target. So this is the target. All the different servers that OEM will be monitoring. All right. So now, so those ports have to be open. Upload port, download port has to be open on these servers. Your sysadmin will work with you to open those ports. Now, another option will be to pull. So we can either push or pull, meaning that we install the OEM software, the agent, directly on the target, and then tell it where OMS is, and then it will register with OMS. All right. I tend to use OMS, OEM loosely together, but let's just say OEM at this time, and you understand the breakdown of some of the things that make up OEM. A more comprehensive information about what I have just given you right now is on this website, nicely done by a guy called Brijesh Gojia. I'm just trying to acknowledge the good work he has done. So, so this is his depiction of what I have just shared with you. So this is OMS, and we have software library. We have a database to keep the OEM, all the information coming in. And then we have BI Publisher to produce reports and all kinds of things and dashboards concerning your databases. That would be wonderful for a DBA to have dashboards that you can go look at, and it tells a summarized story about your entire database across 1,000 servers. So even if you're managing 2,000 databases, there'll be data on the OEM repository enough for us to produce all kinds of business intelligence dashboards and reports, and things like capacity planning become very easy. Things like auditing, both internal and external audit requirements. We could give to management certain dashboard to look at, but they don't even need to demand, because most DBA departments, we are inundated with, oh, can we have a report that does that? When was the last time a database was patched? The internal audit want to know how many people have DBA privileges, how many accounts were locked out this month. Just part of our security check. All this can be produced using BI Publisher on a dashboard, so that they don't even have to demand for it. They see it live, real time. So then, as part of the Enterprise Manager, we will have a JVM engine that is running, and then notifications can come, alerts and notification like thresholds, like you're about to run out of table space, the space. You don't want to know when it is 0 space left. You want to set a threshold like, okay, when it's 90%, warn me. When it's 95, hey, that's critical. I need to be alerted. And in summary, now we got all these targets that we need to push OEM agents to. And then there's the OEM console that we can log on and view different databases. OEM also has command line, EMCLI has command line that we can actually do everything on the command line without logging in through the web interface. Well, in summary, that's it. This document does a good job of telling us each of these components I just talked about, courtesy of this nice guy who has done good documentation. All right, let's jump right into it. The first thing that is required to get things going is to make sure that the OEM server is aware of the target. So in other words, that in a corporate network would have been taken care of by your sysadmin. There will be DNS entries for both the IP address and the domain name so that we can resolve domain name and IP through your DNS. But because we do not have a corporate DNS here, we're just going to put it in the host file for each server so that they will know each other. All right. I made a little document here that I will be following, and I will make that available later. So we have two servers that we are going to be deploying OEM agent to. We have Sandbox and we have PT Advance. For now, I'm just going to go through this video will narrow down to Sandbox, then you will add the PT Advance later. So let's go to this server and find out what is the IP address of. So there, this is the details for our Sandbox. So I'm going to copy that. So this is, then I'll go to OEM as the root user, VI, etc host. I amend the host file for the OEM server and drop that IP address in the host file so that OEM is able to know about that server. So of course, what we did was just change the text file. We need to restart the network. Service network restart. That command is a bit deprecated, and there's a better way to do that, but that still works. So now, if we ping the domain name of that SAN server, OEM should be able to return. Let's ping that from here. All right, you see now OEM is aware of that server. So from now on, we won't bother about the IP address. Now, the target also needs to know about OEM. So let me copy the IP address of OEM server. Copy that. Let's go to the target as the root user, etc host file. And like I said, if we had a corporate DNS to take care of this, we would not have to do this. So in most corporations, they have corporate DNS that will do this resolution. Let me use the appropriate command. Service system control network. I always have to remember how to do this. Service, where is that? Oh, no, I don't want to go through that. You know what? Why don't we just let's do help here. Service system CTL. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, let's just move on. Service, you can Google that at your own time. Service network. I'm just used to doing this. Restart. If I have enough time, I'll show you that. But so now let's ping the OEM server to be sure that we can reach it. PT-infra. Yes, both servers can see themselves. All right, I think we have completed that first part that says that the servers must be able to see themselves. Now, the next thing is the OEM agent will be installed on a directory on the target. Let's create the directory and give it the appropriate permission. So I'm going to call the directory OEM. So this is the target. So I'm creating a directory and I change the owner to Oracle, because if the root creates it and you don't give the appropriate permission, Oracle will not be able to access it. And there we go. So now that directory is made. I'll change directory into OEM agent. So this is the directory right here. And if you check the permission, you see that it belongs to Oracle, and so Oracle will be able to access it. All right. So we are here, we have created the directory that the agent will be pushed to. Next, we will then log into OEM itself, and now we want to add target. We want to push the agent to Sandbox. Let's log into OEM. Okay, go ahead and where is that screen where we have the prompt for OEM? Oh, there it is. All right, so this is OEM Cloud Control 13C. And what we are doing will work for every other version of OEM from 12C up. So we're going to set up, we want to add target, we want to manually add target. Okay. Well, because this OEM is running on your own server and you have very limited resources, it might just be a little slow, but speed is not critical to us at this stage. of our learning. We want to install agent on host. You have to install OEM agent first before you can now register the component, the Oracle objects. Okay, it says, all right, it says this, I'm going to run a job, and this is the job name. How about, okay, I can leave it to show default, but now I need to add the host. Which target are we deploying OEM to? Okay, add, we are deploying it to Sandbox, host name. I like copy paste a lot. That way you do less mistakes. There's the host right there. And now what operating system is the host running? It's Linux 64-bit. Now, we can list all the servers, like if we wanted to deploy to PT Advanced server right now, we will put all that server here, and then we can go one by one and select the OS, or we can say that all the servers have the same OS. So we have that option too. So I'm going to change the job name. I'm going to change the job name to say we are about to add the host PT Sand server. It's not that important, but in case you just want to use this template again, it could save you a lot. Now, let's go. Next. So we have told it which target we are deploying it to. Now, it says this is what I'm going to deploy. I'm going to deploy agent version 13.4. There are some things I need to know. What directory will be holding OEM agent on that server? There we go. We will be in this directory right here. We already created that. This will be auto-populated. Now, the next question is, how do I log into that server? OEM will log in as an OS user to that server. Can you provide the credential? Because if I don't have the credential, I won't be able to log in and push the software. There we go. Now, we can use SSH key. So we can generate an SSH key and use it so that OEM doesn't need a username password. It just gets we make the server a known server. You can always work with your sysadmins to do that. But we know the Oracle password, so the Oracle user, the Unix user will be used. So it will be Oracle, and I happen to know the password. And I'm going to confirm the password. Okay, there I go again, trying to say I know the password. I think I know it. So this is Sandbox, so you provide the Oracle password for Sandbox. If the password is wrong, it will not log in and it will fail. And we could actually keep this password for future use. Name, credentials, save it This is optional if you want to keep it, or you'll be typing in it all the time when it's required. Name credential for the Oracle user for PT Sand server, which I just call Sandbox. Everybody that training know what Sandbox stands for. That's the VM. I'm say okay here. So now we have the Unix user that OEM will log in with to push the software. Now, part of the installation of the agent requires a script to be run at the end by the root user on the target. Usually, you will not have that information in the real world. So I try not to provide it here, even though we know it, but I try not to provide it here, so that I can show you how to go ahead even when you don't have that. We can run that later manually. So we are not going to provide root credential. Now, port 3872 need to be open in the target server for OEM to push the agent. So in our case, it's already open. I think we have answered the important questions there. Let's move to next. So this is the summary. Now this is the upload port I was talking about, 4903, that needs to be open. All these ports can be changed, but this is the default. I would rather you leave it at the default. So now this is the summary, and now we are telling it to deploy. The first time you deploy this using the approach I have just given you, it will fail because it will complain that it doesn't have the root credential with which to run the root script. That's okay. When it fails, we will tell it to continue to deploy, and we will manually handle that, and it will respond to that. So now it's doing some kind of prerequisite check. It's going to check, can I even log in with that username password you gave me? It's going to check, is the directory you gave me, does it exist? Do I have permission to write to it? It's going to check that it has enough space to push that OEM agent to that target. We can quickly peep and see what it's doing, although the log here will begin to show what it's doing. We can open all these and we will have details of what it's doing. It says transferring agent software to destination. Let's go take a look at the destination to see if anything is arriving. Oh, there we go. There we go. So the software have started arriving, meaning that everything went well. Well, it's just checking at this time. Like I said, it will fail the first time because it will come back to say that it doesn't have the root credential, and then we will proceed anyway. While we are waiting for the thing to come back with the error, do you have any question? You can just put that in the chat box. While I await your question, let me quickly go back to that diagram that we had and add a little more nugget. So this document does very good job of explaining everything. So we have agent. That's a piece of software that will run on the target. We have OMS for the part of OEM that does the centralized management. And then we have the repository to keep the data that is coming from all of the targets. We have a web logic that is hosting the application. So the web logic software is a middleware software that that the OMS application is deployed on. Think about it as a virtualized environment where we use VMware to host operating system. WebLogic will host application in a virtualized way. So we have different plugins. What are plugins? Plugins are drivers that plug in to OEM in order for OEM to manage things that is not designed to be managed out of the box. For instance, if you wanted to use OEM to manage Microsoft SQL Server database, that's possible, but you will need the plugin. If you wanted to use OEM to manage Golden Gate, for instance, there's a plugin for that. So you will get the plugin. And then, of course, Exadata and all that. So then we have the BI publisher that will be used to create dashboards and all kinds of reporting. And then we have the OEM console itself. And then we do have command line and so on and so forth. All right. So now the failure has occurred. So everything is checked. Everything is checked. However, it says, do you have the privilege to run as root using the, so it's expecting us to have root credentials. The only reason I'm not supplying that is because in the real world, you will not have root credentials. Most sysadmins will not give you, except, well, in some cases. But we wouldn't want that to be the delay here. So we still can proceed without the root credential. That's why I'm not providing it. So now it says everything is met except you don't have root. Now, to move forward, you will go here and take a look at this. Do not click retry. Go to continue, open that little box right here and say continue on all hosts. If you hit continue, it will just retry. But you've got to continue on all hosts. So we are telling it, look, don't worry, you can deploy. So now it's getting ready to deploy. Depending on the network and some of your infrastructure, this should take 15 minutes max. Oh, there's a question here. Is this the same process for standalone server? Now, at this stage, we are not talking about database at all. We are not talking about all the Oracle objects. We have to deploy the agent to the server, to the host. So all the Oracle objects don't come into play here, because if the agent gets there, then the agent, when it is deployed, will be automatically turned on, and it will discover everything Oracle on that server, including the database, disk groups, or ASM instance, anything Oracle on that server, standby database, and so on and so forth, will be discovered by the agent. So at this stage, we are just pushing the agent to the target. So that's going on. Let's peep in and see what's going on here. LS. There we go. Agent is being deployed. There we go. There we go. Agent is being deployed right now. And just so you know, Enterprise Manager Cloud Control is a licensed software, but here in our training, we're just using a demo version, a demo. We install it in a demo instance just to demonstrate how to push OEM to a target server. So this is not a production thing. So this is not even a production thing. This is just for training purpose right now. Let's see how we're doing. So the deployment is going on. While the deployment is going on, I would like to, yeah, it's still running. Installation and configure stage. So this is where we are right now. I think I need to close this. Okay, so I'm going to close this prerequisite. We're past that stage. What we need to do is monitor what's actually going on here. Now, while that is cooking, let me go and set some environment variables on the target server. I want to set some environment variables. So on the OEM server, I have a few environment variables already set. Let me go copy that cat.bash underscore profile. So on the OEM server, I have environment variables like certain aliases. Aliases are just shortcuts. If I were to start OMS on the OMS server, it will run this command, OMS home bin, and that's the command to start OMS if OMS is down. And that is the command to stop OMS, to check the status of OMS, and then to stop OMS. Now this is, so now what is relevant within the target is this one, start agent, stop agent, status agent, which first we have to define the agent home. So I need that agent home. Where is that? All right, there's it, agent home. Copy that. So I'm going to go to my target server and define my agent home in my .bash so that I don't have to be defining that all the time. So this is, and it doesn't matter what version of Oracle database, 12C, 19C, pluggable, non-pluggable, OEM will discover them, and you will see in a moment. Let me go here, vi.bash underscore profile. I'm just going to put the So I've got the agent. So that's our agent in. Now I like those aliases. I don't want to be remembering all the commands if I've already bookmarked them. Now there's another one I like. I like to be able to go to my alert log. You don't need this, but I'm just going to throw it in there without having to be changing directory there. This will list the last 100 lines of your alert log. This will put you in Oracle Home Network Admin. This will go to Oracle Home DBS. Takes a minute to get used to these aliases, but when you start using them, I don't like to teach them, but at this stage, I will begin to show it to you. The reason I don't like to teach them in my training so that my students don't get lazy and forget the commands they should be knowing. So I've modified my .bash so I can run it. I either log out and come back in, or I can run it. There it is. So now, if I wanted to, for instance, see the content of my TNS name .aura, I would have had to cat Oracle Home Network Admin. So now all I need to do is TNS. I just type this, and that's it. If I wanted to change the directory to Oracle Home Network Admin, I just type ODN, and it goes there, and it's there. Well, these shortcuts can make you lazy. But anyway, what we want to concentrate is the agent. So this is our sandbox. So the agent is already running there. Let's go see what's going on with our installation. It says, aha, everything is ready. Now what is? The installation is complete. Let's take a look. Yep, the installation is complete. And then he says, what we need now is the root script to be run. Everything is ready, but we need the root script to be run. So we're going to copy that. Usually you will send this to your sysadmin. If you do not have root privilege, you will send an email or open a ticket and say to the sysadmin, please, can you run this on PT Sandbox as the root user? So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go to Sandbox as the root user. And it doesn't matter where I am. I can just paste that there and press enter. And now it does what it needs to do. And then that's it. We are done. We are done. Agent has been deployed. I'm going to break this recording into 2 videos. So first of all, we have just deployed OEM agent to a server. Now, so OEM now is aware of that host. As a matter of fact, let's go to target host. Now, the agent, when deployed with OEM, is automatically started. So right now, the agent is busy discovering everything Oracle on that server. The database, the disk groups, the listener, the Oracle home, anything Oracle on that server is now being discovered by the agent. I want to display the host that OEM is aware of. Now, you see, OEM is now aware of Sandbox. So that host is now registered with OEM. So first we registered the host server before we registered the database components. Let's go take a look at the status of our agent. Is it running? Let's go here. Go to the Oracle user. Status agent. Remember that alias, the shortcut? You don't have to use the alias, but I like the alias. There we go. So the agent is 13.4. It's already running. And here are all the information. And the last upload, so it has started uploading things to the server, was at that time. And that was how much information it sent to the server. And available disk space for the agent, there it is. Connection is enabled, which means we can disable it. The last time it talked to OMS was this. So if for some reason it couldn't reach the OMS, you will also know. And this is the version of Linux that is running on this target. So the agent can be started, it can be stopped, we can check the status. Now, the root script that we ran, one of the things that it does is that it sets up this agent to auto start. So if we reboot this server right now, this target, the agent will automatically start. You don't want your agent down. So now it says that the agent is in there. There's our server right now. It tells us a lot about the server. There it is. The server is running Linux. The IP address of the server. How long has this server been running? Is there any incident on the server we should be aware of? This screen is a lot more relevant to sysadmin. They like to get this screen. Most DBAs don't give them that access. So the DBA can actually see a lot about your server. Look at that. One core, one thread, 64-bit Intel chip, swap space. So it tells you a lot about the kernel of the operating system, the host name of the server, and all kinds of statistics, memory utilization, and so on and so forth. A lot of information. File system distribution, network usage. So the DBA actually can see a lot that is going on in the server. All right, we're going to leave this for now. So that's it. The OEM agent has been deployed. Anybody have any questions so far? So we will do another video, a part 2 of this, where we will now go and begin to promote the objects that are being now. The fact that the agents are reporting that there's a database running on that box, on that target, doesn't mean that we are going to automatically monitor that database. We may decide not to monitor it with OEM, but it will be reported, but we will decide that OEM shouldn't bother about it. So discovery is taking place right now, and when we go to the next video, we'll talk about how do we promote this database, listener, and all that, so that from OEM we can monitor and we can manage the database from OEM. All right, thank you. And please, on YouTube, I encourage you to subscribe to this video. I'm sure you will learn a lot.